petri dish, the petri dish, the petri dish. This is the petri dish, the petri dish, the petri dish. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Yeah, I can finally hear you. There you go.
Perfect.
My headphones weren't all the way connected in, so I think that's why it was so quiet.
That'll happen.
How are you guys doing?
Fucking
I miss you already.
Sick. We are dying.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so apologies to anyone listening to this audio format of mostly sniffles, but pretty much ever since Thanksgiving, we've been on
Yeah.
getting sicker.
I got pretty sick the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, see, I had a little bit of a head cold or whatever this weekend, but it wasn't anything too terrible bad. But it is the season, as they say. Or what they say around here is like, well, there's something going around. I'm like, always. But
yeah.
But yeah, nice. Well, I'm sorry. Oh, nice is a great thing to say about you guys being sick. Yeah. Yeah, nice. I'm glad you're sick. That's great.
Cool. Whatever's good for you. I don't know.
Whatever's good for you. I mean, if that's your decision, but yeah, no, I just got done getting my haircut. I have an interview tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Trying to set some goals, and I think I should be able to hold on to it a little bit better, just knowing that I actually have a plan now. So, but yeah, I just kind of, I don't know. The more and more, like with how Fun Tour was and how like great I'm received in other parts of the country, I just need to get out of here eventually. But
yeah, sometimes
like it'll be in. Yeah,
you just gotta pack up and go to where the heat is, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I'm not getting any younger either, you know. And my daughter's expressed wanting to not be, that she wouldn't mind checking out somewhere else different too. So it's just kind of getting some things in order with the family and her mom and stuff there. But yeah, I did get a haircut. Yeah, Kennedy just walked in. She's picking up some stuff after school. But
hell yeah.
So.
I'm
talking with Bobby and Alisha.
This is going to be a very loose podcast because honestly, I think it's taken about 2 weeks just between all three of us of me being like, I don't feel it today, or like Alicia's super sick, or like you got stuff going on.
Sure.
And it's like
I've just tried to hit the ground run. Yeah. I knew it would happen eventually. I just kind of tried to hit the ground running. I actually haven't had the post-tour bummers yet. Which is, I'll just save them for Christmas. But give me a hug. Yeah. All right. Love you, sweetheart. You have a good day with your mom, and I'll see you in the morning, okay? Yeah, do you have a good day at school? No? We'll talk about it later. You can message me, okay?
Yeah, we don't want to air out her crazy drama.
Yeah, that's not what she wants either. All right, I love you, honeybee. All right, bye.
He's like, you know how many women in my class are pregnant right now?
No.
It's like it's fifth grade's rough around here, man. Yeah.
They just start them younger and younger these days.
Jesus.
Hey, speaking of aging and touring and things going worse, I just want to. For those that don't know, Brian and I recently embarked on a damn near 3-week tour. Through the Midwest, East Coast, down to Nashville, where we recorded some dope songs, and then back up home to South Dakota. Super great. Brian's the one that booked basically the good shows of the entire show, of the entire tour. I booked one thing that we skipped out on because there was a tropical storm.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you at least got to see through my stomping grounds, because honestly, those shows weren't as well attended as they normally. It was still a great time,
Wisconsin was still super.
Oh, yeah, you can see why I go back. They're so great out there. Yeah, and
even with the hiccups that Wisconsin gave us, which we'll definitely go into more detail of.
Yes, we will.
I just got to say, overarching, aside from me and Alicia dying now, the craziest thing to me is how unprepared I was for the body of a 30-year-old that I have now, as compared to being like a fresh out of college 24-year-old trying to tour.
Oh, it's entirely different. It's a different ballgame. You got to take care of yourself out there.
Yeah, I had too many fried sandwiches for the back half of it.
You did pretty well. I was I still laugh at it. Like, we right before we got to Michigan, you got that big Snickers bar, which, don't get me wrong, I would love to devour a giant Snickers bar, but I knew I had a show that night. And we got there and we got to the parking lot of the place, and you're like, I don't feel very good. I'm like, Well, yeah.
And for those who are thinking I just ate a king-size Snickers, no.
Oh, no.
This was
No,
a
not just a
full
king-size.
1
Jumbo.
pound of Snickers, the size of my forearm. Specifically, they are called the slice and share, of which I did neither.
No one's cutting that damn thing with a knife. I don't care who you are. Like, people are taking bites off of that. Like, I bet rarely, I mean, but yeah, no one slices their Snickers and shares it.
I was making some weird choices, but they were.
It's fine. I think that Werner's, and not to, if you're listening, John Werner's, I'm sorry, but I think that Werner's was too carbonated to give me indigestion. But
it prides itself on being like the only ginger ale that uses actual ginger, but yeah, honestly, it did not soothe my tummy.
No, I think that the Schweppes or whatever you call it is still my favorite ginger ale, and that's nothing.
I'm a Canada Dry man all the way.
Canada Dry is great too. Canada Dry actually has a dry grape ginger ale that you can only find in certain spots there, and it is so delicious. Well, you're wrong.
Yeah,
it's so gross.
I used to only get it on airplanes, and then I started then I was an adult, and I was like, how come I can't just get myself a ginger ale right now?
Yeah.
Ever since then,
yeah, it's kind of nice of giving yourself those permissions. I could see why, as I didn't like it growing up at all, so I could see whatever. But for me, it's just because my daughter likes Sprite, and I don't think it has hardly any flavor.
I love Sprite. I'm a Sprite girl myself.
I love a McDonald's Sprite. That's
a McDonald's from the fountain. Sprite's phenomenal. I will give you that because it's really refreshing and everything like that. But it's never thing I ever seek out.
I will also be down for a Sierra Mist, but do not put me with a 7-Up. I hate 7-Up.
7-Up's a little bit more fizzy than the other two. I will say
syrupy.
Yeah, well, I think is 7-Up made by Pepsi? Because Pepsi seems like they're just too syrupy in general.
I think 7-Up created its own separate 7-Up company.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think they are a part of Pepsi.
They probably got bought out.
In-N-Out.
They might have that.
That's the only Pepsi product they have.
Anyway, we're getting too deep into the sodas.
Well, I could talk about soda.
Tour was filled with weird
various sodas
and sodas and coffees, and strange concoctions.
Eggnog, that eggnog cappuccino though.
I was just thinking the straight up eggnog we walked around Nashville drinking.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I actually found a new brand here at home too, and I haven't stopped nogging. So
you gotta stay noggin to keep your jogging. I don't know.
Actually, I don't think noggin and jogging really go hand in hand at all.
No, they don't. You should not jog and drink a thick, milky substance.
Bobby makes a pretty good eggnog.
I do. I make a dope eggnog.
I don't really like eggnog, but
I think we both on the road. Bobby and I discussed our eggnog recipes, and because I make a homemade one too.
Nice.
I do the boozy one for my dad on Christmas Eve every year, and it's nice because it's the one thing I make that he asks me to make again, and he'll be disappointed if I don't make it, so that makes me feel good. But
I'm always just out to drink some custard. That's all.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I just. Yeah, because Kennedy and I, we make one without alcohol in it too, and that's pretty much better. But because getting drunk on eggnog, that's just adding layers to your hangover.
I don't like the idea of getting drunk on the milky substances. I love rum chata. I'm not gonna get hammered off that. Don't get drunk off of creamy things. That's
yeah.
If I could make one rule, creamy, including Jaeger and mayonnaise.
I will say though, you to bring it back to what you had started or whatever with the age thing being on the road, is that it's something I kind of had to learn too, because that first one I went on with Bobby, I definitely, or not Bobby, with Jimmy. My bad. With Jimmy, the first one I went, because it was the first one I went on with you. And we got so freaking drunk in Fargo that one time, Buffalo Ridge with bourbon and stuff like that. And I had I had my share of nights on this tour, but I made sure there was a day that we didn't have much going on the next day, and I didn't really drink, enough to get freaking totally wild and hungover either. So
it's just kind of had a show and you were fucking passed out through it. No, it's we had to kill time in a fucking motel. For 4 days.
Why not get a cheap bottle of Evan Williams bourbon and watch your 49ers win a game and be nervous about recording? Because that's what I did. I just kind of drank away my nerves a tiny bit. But if I'm going to be recording in Nashville, you got to make the story good, So,
and you got to be drunk for it a little bit. That's just Nashville.
A little bit. a little bit. Well, the funny thing is like I drank a decent amount of Jameson that day, but and so did I shared it with Sheila too. But I wasn't like at all, out of it too much.
You're probably just so
But
fucking jacked just
I don't
walking
know.
around that
Honestly,
studio.
I would like, cause that was I bought before I went to recording, I bought my first pack of cigarettes I bought in 4 years. Cause I was just like terrified, but it was, I'm like, they hope they're not mean. And they weren't mean. I was just so scared of them being mean. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe it's cause I grew up around mean people, but
yes, and then we come back full circle again. You gotta get out of South Dakota.
yeah, back to it. Yeah. No,
There's
that's
a
just
whole
kind of,
wonderful world out there.
Oh, for sure. Well, I've seen it and whatever else like that, and I kind of had some things keeping me here, and it's stuff I don't want to talk about on the podcast too much. But Bobby, I do appreciate the talk that we did have because you're just kind of realigning and getting your goals and kind of making my life what I want it to be, and yeah. But no, it was such a phenomenal time, man. Like that was the one time, like I mean, because we were both missing our families and stuff like that. But like I know that like if we could have just picked up Alisha and Kennedy, I could have kept going for another month. I mean, because it was, yeah, I know what you mean though. I mean, there's some things where it's good to be home, but it might be, I just need to find a home that I'm okay going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's not realistic to be on the road all the time, but it kind of helped me recharge and kind of reset and kind of I have this strange thing. I looked it up actually. It's called self-esteem. And that's been kind of nice lately.
I heard an Offspring song about that once.
Yeah.
Don't forget about its sister, self-worth.
Self-worth. Yes. Oh no, there's none of that.
That one's really hard. I had to learn.
That's a hoax.
Cal Worthington for Mattress Ranch. I don't know. I don't think that's the same guy.
What you got?
Is there actually a place called Mattress Ranch?
In Alaska, there is.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So,
that's great. I love the idea of mixing any sort of broad concept with a ranch because we have Pizza Ranch here, and it's great.
Yeah. So let's start a little tour recap just from the top. First day, Fargo. My notes include immediely the soup fucks.
The soup fucks. I actually contacted Tristan to tell him that he made us laugh the whole tour with his comment, the soup fucks. Now you can start it to give people some context, but you really don't need it because it's just a great sentence.
You don't. It was just like we were just sitting around, and then out of nowhere, I just hear him be like, "Sandwiches are okay. The soup fucks." Like I've never heard anyone go to bat so hard for a cup of soup.
I really want to try it. Like I think I have to try it next time I'm there just to see how
I thought I'd get myself a nice warm cup of fuck soup, but.
But that overall, that was great. And then overall, just a really stacked show of like good friends and talented friends. I love that scene up there. And that was kind of a good nostalgic thing for us too, because it was our first out of state place we played together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Red Raven, I think they're kind of trying to reopen at a different location, but the aquarium was cool to play, and Straight Line Arrival were phenomenal. And sold a bunch of art, sold all my heavy pieces the first night. So then,
got rid of all the giant wood ones that were clanging around.
Yeah, the ones that were going to punch a hole in the other canvases. So we got rid of those the first night. Nice. Thank you, Sky. And
so good.
Yeah, it was that was fun. And then it was nice because that was just a great show. And then we had a good hang with Mike, watch Grumpy Old Men afterwards.
Yes, because Mike had to do a trivia thing the next day, right? And so he's like, I got to watch Grumpy Old Men. We're like, put it on.
Yeah, put it on. Yeah. Well, and then like I think I tapped out pretty early that night too because I had pre-tour anxiety, so you're just excited to go. So I had gotten everything ready. So I was up at like 5:30 that morning to get donuts and things like that.
Is that where you lost the pillow?
Yes. So first night I was asleep on the couch. Night. I brought the little pillow that has mine and Alicia's faces on it that we got for our anniversary from my sister.
Our engagement.
Yep, for our engagement. It was a nice present. And I left it the first place we stayed at on tour. And Mike is shipping me that soon.
Yeah, it was adorable because he was telling me how special it was to him and everything. And then sure enough, like I think we had gotten like probably just far enough away to where you couldn't turn around. Like
it was like an hour and a half deep into the drive.
Yeah, like Alexandria, Minnesota or something like that. And then we're like, I left my Bluetooth speaker, which is like my lifeline, Which is not, there's not near as much sentiment to it though. It's just that I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would suck to not
sometimes
have one of those.
yeah, utility is sometimes a harder hit to take than sentiment
Yeah.
because you're like, oh fuck, I don't know what to do with myself every day now.
Yeah. Luckily, I mean, I have this old it's one of those shitty it's a jukebox, a record player, and a CD player. The record player doesn't work.
Nice.
But I use the turntable to paint on sometimes just to kind of rotate and but either way, but I have an aux cord, so I've been plugging my phone into that, and that's been okay. It's just yeah, but that one has the microphone too, so especially since I've started my live streaming, doing the TikTok stuff, it'd be nice to have something where I don't have something in my ear the entire time. But that's all right. It's really not a big deal.
Did you send it back to him yet?
What?
Did you send it back to him yet?
No, I have the box ready though.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's really no. I mean, like I left it. I'm surviving just fine. You need to get that pillow back first.
Yeah.
It'll be on its way soon. We're making sure to actually contact Mike and be like, "Hey, I left a pillow there."
I sat him down and I was like, "Did you contact the dude yet?" And he goes, "Oh no, I forgot." And then he immediately like texted you or something.
Yeah, I started texting you,
and then I was like, "Okay, but did you do it yet?" He was like, "Oh no."
Oh, I understand that mindset so much. It's like there's that, but like that's contacting someone that I don't.
Yeah.
But you don't need to. Yeah, he'll send it in a heartbeat. He's always shipping stuff anyway. Okay, so yeah, Fargo was tremendous. I had a really good time. Right. I always have a good time with Mike. He's one of my best friends. So like it was really, really great to see them. And then
over to Minneapolis for Badger's Den,
which is awesome. Joe, another great friend of mine, Joe Bartel. Yeah. Great little DIY venue, Badger's Den. They just closed down 319 earlier this year, but he's still trucking away with shows, doing mainly acoustic stuff, and that was just great. I think that was a really great lineup too. I was glad you got to hear Joe's music, and I really liked Zach Baker. I've been listening to him a lot.
Same. That was honestly a highlight of tour for me. It was finding Zach Baker and his insane songwriting, because you know, like I'm a musical theater dork, and
it's very
nerd rock.
That. Yeah.
You know, like
I will openly admit that you probably enjoy. I mean, as much as I enjoy it, I know that you enjoyed it a ton more than I did. You know, and that's just preference wise, but it was so good, and that's the Theater Girls Will Break Your Heart. We listened to that a lot
every day.
He still is listening to it a lot.
Every day.
Yeah, Kennedy knows the words to it now too. So yeah,
I guarantee I have listened to it at least every day since we first heard it in Minneapolis.
Yeah,
it makes me feel good every day.
I've been popping back to Ocean Man by Ween a lot.
Same.
And that just reminds me of like you driving through Cincinnati in fucking insane rain. And just Ocean Man. But yeah, that was I kind of what was I gonna say? I'm trying to think, because I've kind of been going back to that playlist quite a bit. Because it's got everything that we wanted to listen to on it. There's a few things that I kind of cherry picked out of there and added to it, and but it just kind of takes you back. It's a cool thing to have there still. That way we can kind of remember, and then I can, instead of having to like text you every like 5 minutes, hey, what was that band? Sincere Calculator, and or Sergeant Calculator, I believe is the term. Yeah. But Sincere Engineer, they're really great.
Yeah, check them
out. I really enjoy them. Yeah, I really enjoy them. And then I've kind of just been getting caught up on podcasts. I had so much true crime shit that I wasn't going to put Bobby through on the road.
Oh, he would have loved that.
I can only do so much true crime. It makes me want to actively go murder other people.
There has to be comedy in it, otherwise I can't handle it. I used to listen to some like just straight up true crime ones, and I just could not like. So about like I've kind of reduced. Well, and especially with my, I think the last podcast I was on, we discussed my neighbor who was kind of a little
probably going to be the subject of a podcast himself one of these days.
Yeah, exactly. So I took a giant break from listening to any true crime at all, because I'm like, God, it's just too real, and all this stuff seems like stuff my neighbor has been doing this week, and, yeah. So so I finally revisited, but I just kind of mainly listen to the last podcast now, and then I just do a lot more comedy based ones. But okay, so then we move on from Minnesota. Thank you,
Oh
Joe.
no, actually, Badger's Den. I did want to shout out to our friend Mike Higgins, who was a great new friend to make in that area at Badger's
Such
Den.
a great dude.
He wanted to send us off with some party favors that he did not have on his person. And what you need to know about our good friend Matt Eagle Eyes Higgins is he is blind as shit.
He's very blind. He went blind about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like he was born with it and he's like, oh, I'm so good at this. It's like he's been blind for a bit, but
yeah, he needs a little
sight.
help. So like we weren't about to have, and like we had some Malort from our good friends Jameson and Brianna, and we had some Malort. So I'm like, I'm not about to drive, even if it's 4 blocks away, drive, and do that.
Like,
so then he's like, I'll walk. I'm like,
it's like we couldn't drive him. He offered to go back home and then walk back with the stuff he had to give to us. And I was like, I will never say no to free things on the road. Also, I am not about to make a blind dude walk through the cold winter night, even if it's just 4 blocks. That's just, it seems a little bit unconscionable, but
it was just, it felt a little, So and I think we did just fine without them. And it was a nice little visit. And Joe is always great. Of course, Joe's dog Badger, from the Badger's Den fame.
Which if you listen to Joe's music, go listen to I Want a Puppy Dog, and then he got that exact dog that he wanted.
It's such a heartwarming thing. And he played that adorable. I love it. And then he played I'll have to give him some crap about it, because my favorite one of that he's been doing recently is Black Coffee Sunset, and the last tour I went on with him back in May, he played it a bunch, and I was like, so I'm like, he's going to finish off the set with it, and he didn't play it, and I'll have to give him some. I'm actually going on and hitting the road with him in April already again. So we're gonna do a more efficient version of the route we just did.
Yeah, it's probably better to streamline the front half.
But the thing is, like, I think we had different circumstances, especially with Nashville and stuff like that. But I'm just gonna kind of go and probably go as far east. I'm not sure if we'll swing down through Ohio or not, but if we can, it'd be great. But it's just kind of getting St. Louis, and we'll talk about that on the phone. But yeah, no, it was a great time. Had some Malort, and it just tastes like, once you just think grapefruit, it's a little better, but it's just like,
it still doesn't help me. Every time I just taste. I mean, I guess because I know it's wormwood. That's the flavoring agent, which is very bitter.
Yeah,
and I just can't do it. I can't do Malort. I mean, I can do it. I can't.
I can and do often, but I can never say that I enjoy it, because I don't.
I would never order it myself. Is basically what it boils down to.
Yeah. Like I'll never buy Malort. You have Malort, I'll take a shot of it, sure. But
all right. Along the same Malort path, we have probably one of the best days on tour. Maybe not the best, but definitely the most storied in both good and bad things.
Good and bad. It was my favorite show to perform on tour, I believe.
Yeah.
Just because I finally got to hear my music with some stringed accompaniments, and Sheila was just fantastic on that. Mm-hmm. But go ahead. I'll let you kind of set up what.
Yep. If anyone does want to go to Brian's YouTube page, you'll find some of the videos we got of Sheila backing him up with some fiddle on his songs live, and like she learned the songs like
right then.
When we got there. Yeah. So just a fucking pro at everything she does.
She's phenomenal. Yeah.
And another thing that I loved about this show is it was the live paint day, where you would, like, the past 2 days you had sold out of almost everything in Fargo and Minneapolis. So you had to paint here because you had like 8 paintings left. For the entire tour.
Yeah. It's the truth. I came home with 6. I left with 45 and came home with 6.
Wow.
So
and then didn't you also have to like get more supplies on the road?
I did. I bought all that stuff in that morning at Michael's in Minneapolis, and then I decided when we were leaving to drive past the same exit where the Michael's was twice. So
that's where I decided, hey, I'm gonna take the city driving. So
it worked out really well, and I want you to know that it's kept me up at night sometimes. I'm like, I made him drive so much on that, and because I got the large vehicle in the cities. I was just, I used to be able, I drove a big old tour bus through Seattle. So, I mean, I know I can do it, but like for some reason, this trip, I was just,
and
just
especially just
terrified.
being out of practice, you know, like
Yeah.
I know I haven't been driving much the last 3 years.
Yeah,
So
that's
then trying to
true.
do
Yeah.
it, I guess semi-professionally,
Yeah.
was a little bit jarring. So anyway, we're in Wausau, third show of the tour. Amazing sets by everybody.
Oh yeah, we all did great. Yeah.
Ouroboros the poser and
Constant headache.
yep, constant headache. I kept wanting to say a different
Joyce Manor.
thing. But those two were from Chicago. They were great. And then we had a surprise drop in at the end by the very people who put the show together.
Hemlock Chaser, yeah. Because they were kind of hosting it. And they are so brilliant at what they do. They are just phenomenal. Sheila, the aforementioned fiddle violin player, plays with them. And yeah, the first time I saw them was at Bindlefest, and it just blew me away.
Amazing bluegrass group there. It's almost like I'd say it's like not quite pirate punk, you know, like they don't go cheesy into that. It's just like super solid, fast, almost anxious bluegrass, you know?
Sure. Yeah, it's got like I know I think Sheila coined it gutter grass is I think is one of the things they say, yeah, which I think is really apt. It fits it pretty well. But it's such a cool genre, and they mix like just the perfect amount of country that you want in there, and they're all super talented at what they do. So yeah, it's just brilliant. I'm excited to record and have a few of those artists on there.
Oh, yeah, get all of them on your album.
I talked to Tanner already, and I'm setting up the track list, but I'm going to do it in the summertime so I can take Kennedy up to the Dells and kind of make a little trip out of it too. Because we'll just stay with Amanda because she's only 20 minutes from Stevens Point. So so it'll be perfect and actually affordable. So, but go ahead. Yes. So we had the
show goes off without a hitch. Yep. Best thing ever. We know that we're staying with your buddy Chad, who you had met before on the road. But
real quick side note on the live painting before we get into this, because once we get into this, it's going to be quicksand getting out of it. There was a guy there that asked me, I can't remember, I'm not going to use his real name, but we'll say Marty. He asked me to write him a personal message, just whatever he wanted or whatever I wanted to say to him on there. And then he proceeded to tell me exactly what he wanted me to say to him. So he's like, just say, keep your head up. I know things have been tough. I'm like, okay. So then I told him to keep your head up. I know things have been tough because I just learned this. And it was a very like, if you want a custom message, or want a personal message, I had no freedom on what to say on there, but it was kind of funny and it makes me giggle. But I hope he's doing well.
Whatever you want, except do this.
Do this. And just to you, Marty, that's not your real name. I do hope you're doing well, and I know things have been tough lately.
Yeah.
But
speaking of dudes with weird names, we met aside from the one we're definitely going to talk about. We met a dude named Gandalf.
Yeah, he inspired that painting that Ross bought.
Yeah. And like
Gandalf, yeah.
What I loved about it is this dude is probably like mid 40s, maybe early 50s, but looking good, but older than the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Parents were old school Tolkien nerds who named their child after a wizard in a book, which is peak. It's pretty great. Shit. I love it.
Sounds like something you would do.
Exactly. That's why I was just like, oh fuck, I love this Gandalf guy. All right. And then Brian and I load up the truck, head to Chad's place because we're like,
SUV.
Oh yes, the Ford Expedition.
Not a truck. Does not have a.
I will concur. It's not a truck, but I was gonna let you roll with it. But I'm glad you.
I will not allow it.
Honest. I'm glad you got called on it. To be honest, I was gonna keep my mouth shut, but I'm glad it got said.
Sorry, continue.
Go ahead, Bobby.
No thanks. Next day.
No thanks. Next day.
So Green Bay was fun. All right, podcast is over.
The podcast is over. I'm gonna go get in my truck.
Glad I waited 3 weeks for this.
To be definitely ganged up
on the road randomly today.
Oh, it's great.
So we get to Chad's house.
The Chad.
Yeah, we get to Chad's house. Well, I got good time to, hang out for a little bit, decompress after a show, because it's real hard to just go right to sleeping after, a pumped up show like that. So we get up there into his house. He has a big fat orange cat. Loved it.
Garfield level fat.
Love
Yeah,
fat
like
cats.
big chunky boy. Loved hanging
Said
out
he
with
was
that
a
cat.
Maine Coon, right?
Yeah, big fat cat.
Love that.
So good.
Look tiny in your arms.
Chad played us a few of his new originals. It was a cool vibe.
Yeah, he's got a really good sound, and he's worked a lot on his original stuff too. I toured with him
Definitely.
right before COVID, actually. But
But
go ahead.
Yep, we watched some Bob's Burgers, just kind of set the mood. Just be like, hey, let's wind down for the night. And unfortunately, a friend of Chad's decided to join us in this decompression ritual after the show. Now,
I want to preface that I told you before we got, and I was being a bit negative, I will say, but I'm like, I got a bad read on this guy from the get-go. I'm like, I'm not looking forward to hanging out with this dude. I'm like looking forward to hanging out with Chad, but I'm not looking forward to hanging out with this dude.
yeah,
and,
I wasn't the most stoked.
And
about
you
it
were way more accepting of it. I'm like, good for you. He's probably right. It probably won't be that bad.
Probably.
And
won't
go
end
ahead.
terribly.
I just wanted to fill that in there real quick.
Yeah, because my interaction with the dude was we were at the bar. I don't think he saw any of the show, but he walked up to me because he saw me loading out the stuff and decided to just show me he had 15,000 followers on Instagram.
Which
actually no,
immediately
16,000 specifically.
It was specifically 16,000. Yes,
because 15,000 is so fake. Why would you would buy 15,000? You wouldn't buy 16,000.
No, exactly.
And we're just kind of hanging out. He sees me loading up my stuff. So he's like, "Oh, let me get a CD. I can promote it on my Instagram." I was like, "Well, they're $5, so
yeah." It's like I'm not gonna
if you don't want to check out Spotify for free, either give me money or please go away. And so he just went away because I refused to
give him a free CD.
I'm not going to give you free
shit.
shit.
Especially if it's somebody you just freaking met. Like if it's one person, I'll give away a CD to a fellow musician or certain circumstances, but not that one.
Definitely not. But then that's the guy that happens to also be joining us in Chad's place. And for the first hour.
No, I will say the first sentence he said was, "I knew there was a reason I got kicked out of that strip club, dude."
Yeah.
It was to hang out with you. And then I'm like, okay, we'll brush that off. Maybe he's just riffing or joking a little bit, and then go ahead. But then the first hour wasn't so bad.
Yeah, the first hour, I was just like, this dude's got a strange sense of humor, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Because I frequently hang out with, very self-aware but crazy comedy types. They know they're pretty fucked up, and they know, how weird they are, but they're just kind of living it and going through, and I'm like, hey, good for you. This guy had all the rhythms of somebody who was joking all the time, but after a good 2 hours, that is when I immediately noticed I'm gonna adjust my mic here real quick.
Sure.
There we go. That's when I immediately go, oh, he's not, this isn't fun jokes. He's not riffing with us. He's just saying shit.
He's just saying shit. Yeah.
He's just saying shit into the air. And Chad, being a very generous host, was just offering us any of his wares there. And I'm a person from a legal marijuana state, so I frequently enjoy the usage of cannabis in many things. But because that state isn't legal, who knows what we were doing, hanging out. But somehow, this stranger who none of us really want to be there gets a hold of I'm not going to call it a heroic dose of mushrooms, but somehow he came across a solid amount of mushrooms you don't want one person eating.
Yeah, it's definitely not a single serving situation for sure.
He ate the amount of mushrooms that I ate in Snickers.
Yeah, I would say. I'd say that's a very...
Too much.
Yeah, too much.
It was too much.
That would explain a lot about the strip club.
Yep. And it was right about the time when he was not shutting up about his football career in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Chad had the best singers.
Yes. So he was he was talking all about, he's like, oh, I was playing, I was running, I was in the team with
I was the coolest.
I was so fast.
So cool.
I was so good. And then
and Bobby and I are trying to sleep the least impressed anyone could ever be about.
We are not engaging whatsoever. He is standing up in the living room we are trying to sleep in, expositioning to no one. And Chad, the good host he is, was in the kitchen, just trying to wrap things up for the night, doing a little bit of dishes. And he just goes, what the fuck is the story about? Get to the end. You sucked at football in high school. What the fuck is this story about? And that's when I knew this wasn't a joke, and this guy was just dumb as shit.
Yeah.
Because up till this point, I was going off of Chad's cues of like, the initial turn was when he was telling Chad that he wanted to be buried in like a BMW or some fucking fancy
It was
car.
an Aston Martin. Aston Martin, which is a very expensive vehicle.
Yeah.
And credit to Chad, apparently also had just started hanging out with this guy again. They aren't like best
they were
friends.
reconnecting from high school or something like that.
So like,
and we didn't know
Yeah, which like, if you're with good friends that you're like, if me and you were joking and I was like, you have to bury me in an Aston Martin, starkly funny, a little bit stupid, kind of out of nowhere, Monty Python level non sequitur. This guy, that was one of his actual dreams he was voicing out loud.
He was extremely materialistic. It was insane.
With his football career,
he
of
loved
course he
talking
was.
about how smart Elon Musk is.
God.
Like that,
and how much he's an alpha male.
Yeah, so like this dude's doing.
He was big on the alpha male thing, even though we could have just squeezed him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
he looked like a non-buff Dave Mustaine.
That's why he immediately went to Bobby and started showing off his followers because Bobby's, intimidating and a man, and he is small and a worm.
Small boy.
Well, the thing is like he looked. I mean, he looked like a Wish.com Dave Mustaine or any extra in like the Dazed and Confused sequel that went straight to DVD. Like that's what this guy looked like. Yeah.
Every bad Stranger Things cosplay from this past Halloween, that was this dude.
Yeah.
So we have the crashing into a strip club that he got kicked out of because he crashed his car, which is why he was talking about wanting to be buried in an Aston Martin because he crashed his car. And we also now know he used to play football, but badly. It is now 3 a.m.
Yeah.
It is 3 a.m. and Chad has finished doing any task he can do in his kitchen and living room. And he just goes, hey, buddy, these guys are on tour and need to go to bed. So you need to either be quiet or go somewhere else to party. Lays it down clear as day.
Yeah, very simply, and wasn't trying to start any shit. Chad was like the king of de-escalation.
Yeah, and like, I don't care how drunk or high you are. That's so cut and dry. If you don't hear that, you're being an asshole. At least in my mind. So
wait, you think he was being an asshole?
100%. And it took everything in my heart not to say it out loud because Chad was handling it. So it is 3 a.m. Chad lays out this very simple plan of, hey, these guys are going to bed because they have things to do, and you need to leave or also go to bed because you are high as fuck. And this guy goes through a loop of 3 things. He goes through...
You hate me. You're not my friend.
No, he immediately goes to, do you want to kill me?
Yes.
Yeah, immediately, right away.
And immedially
the way he's acting, you're like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, and then he like softened it to like, what you want to beat me up? Like, no. Like, I already wanted to kill you. You can't soften it to beat me up.
Yeah.
And then wandering around asking for more free drugs, specifically our favorite that I think made us laugh in the moment. Because again, I thought he was joking sometimes.
Yeah.
He just went, you got any Quaaludes?
Like, no one's had Quaaludes for 35 years.
Yeah, like, whose go-to is to do fucking barbiturates from the 70s or whatever, like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, but it was just funny. He's like, Quaaludes, ketamine, baby Tylenol. Like, he didn't say baby Tylenol, but I always like the joke that he digresses all the way to baby Tylenol.
So Chad makes it very clear, you are not going to get a bunch of free drugs from us at 3 a.m. You are being very disruptive, and these gentlemen are trying to sleep.
And frankly, disrespectful to Chad, especially as a friend. Yeah,
he even laid it out. The guy was just like, "Oh, what? I'm being the asshole," and Chad's like, "Yes, these guys are trying to." He's like, lays it out again. He's like, "These guys are trying to sleep. It is very late. I want to sleep. You need to leave." And he's just like, "Oh, well, I'm being the asshole." Fucking yes,
And then he mentions he has a gun, he mentioned he has a gun, which I was terrified about because I'm like, well, maybe he does have a gun. Bobby's
No.
like, that guy doesn't have a gun. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right.
It's like rule number one of guns is
you don't
talk about it. No, like if someone knows you have a gun, it's because they have fucked up. So this guy going off like, oh, I've got a gun, then go rob someone for free drugs. Get the fuck out of my face. I've got to sleep.
Oh, Jesus.
You know?
Yeah.
And so then now he's on the I do need to leave side of his own brain.
Finally.
But where's he gonna go? His phone's
Wasn't
dead.
His phone dead? Yeah.
His phone was dead. He doesn't know where he's gonna go, and that's our problem for some fucking reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he keeps asking me to use our phone.
Oh, and before he got caught in this loop with Chad of being a dick at 3 a.m., he asked to go on tour with us.
Oh, that was your response to that was golden.
Yeah, so like Chad was like, hey, these guys are on tour, they need to go to bed, it's time for them to sleep. And he's like, oh, you guys are on tour? Take me with you. I want to go. I got a song, and I'm like, no, we don't have space for you in the car. You know, like,
plus we booked this and put a lot of work into this.
Like, this is our thing. You know, like maybe if I get to know you down the road, we'll book you on another one or on one of the shows on it. But no, not right now.
And then he immediately jumps in with it's like that. Then and you're like, it's like that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's like that. It's not fucking about you. Like none of this is about you.
Absolutely.
You know, like, what are you expecting from me, you fucking loser? You know, like, you just assume you get to be on shows with me for no reason?
What did he even do? Was he a rapper? Is that what
you're saying? Been a rapper.
I was going to say he had to have been a rapper.
That kind of piece of shit attitude, you're definitely a SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah.
And so I lay it out for him. I say, you know, like, this isn't about you. We are not going to take you on tour. I am done talking to you.
Yeah.
Which is why he goes to Chad to get stuck in a loop of getting kicked out for the next hour and a half.
Well, the thing is like what he pushed me to a point that I rarely get with people. You know what I mean? I'll put up with anything. You know what I mean?
Man, like, this guy sounds like one of my ex-boyfriends.
And because I don't like confrontation. Like I will like help you rob the bank before I'm like, hey, we shouldn't do this. You know what I mean? Not that it's not that bad, but I'm really bad at confrontation. So like, but he got to the point where I was even yelling at him and telling him to shut the fuck up and leave.
Yeah.
And that that's how you know, because someone will be like robbing me and I'll be apologizing to him. So,
yeah. And so the gun debacle, he's mentioning he has a gun because none of us will give him our phones.
Of course.
Which,
again, no fucking ways he haven't touched it.
Like,
I was plugged in on the stove over there. He could have just grabbed it, but
I was holding it and playing video games in front of his face on mine.
I was giggling at you making side comments.
Yeah.
I think it's my main go-to for this.
I was
coping.
Like, Chad was handling it. It was his house. I didn't want to start shit in a house that that's not my jurisdiction. I wasn't going to go bust shit up in this dude's house that's letting us stay. Mm-hmm. That's not cool to do. But this guy was this close to getting thrown down the stairs.
Oh, yeah. So
this close.
And I mean, well, because
not leaving when you have asked to have been
that I've never heard you take, with him the one time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like that guy was, like, threatening us with your hollow shit. Fine, whatever. You're an idiot. I don't think you have the balls to back it up. But you have been asked to leave in very plain words, and you refuse to. Chad is being the most nice person, not even outwardly saying, I fucking hate you, get out of my goddamn house, you're so fucking annoying. Not once did he go to that.
Yeah. And I felt like really bad for Chad too, because you're like reconnecting with an old high school friend or anything like that. And Chad's trying. We're all trying to get our lives, together, be in order, and everything like that. And like, so he's, being like the most like grown up and mature about it as you can be. But then he was doing that. But so I will say,
Chad was defusing a bomb that whole time.
Yeah, the entire time. Well, because he kept trying to escalate to violence every single time. Like, Chad would say something.
No, I just want to go to bed. You are keeping us up. It's nothing like that. He's just like, I'm tired. You are being loud. Like, it doesn't have to be anything like that. And then just like slowly over an hour and a half, it's finally like 4:30. He eases him down the stairs halfway, I'd say.
Oh my God.
Halfway down the stairs.
About halfway down the stairs, Chad walks back up the stairs because he thinks, all right, dude's leaving.
No.
And then a Scarface accent comes out of nowhere.
No.
Well, no, he'd been doing the Scarface.
He'd been doing on and off, which is again why I thought he was constantly joking, because you don't just start doing a Scarface accent seriously mid-conversation.
Yeah.
So I will say, only redeeming quality was it was the best Scarface impression I've ever heard in my life. It was so good.
I've only ever watched Scarface once. I knew he was doing a Scarface impression because it was spot on.
Yeah. Oh, it was just spot on. And then so I'll let you go, and but then you say like once he leaves,
he is halfway down the stairs and he starts up this fucking Scarface impression.
So I'm the bad guy.
I'm the bad guy. Like gets up the stairs, does a full scene from Scarface at the top of the stairs. Dead serious,
verbatim,
as if he is Scarface, angry in front of us.
No
and
one's
storms
done a better
out.
performance of that other than Al Pacino. Like it was amazing,
and that's what he leaves on.
Tell me, did you stand up and clap?
No,
I made a poorly timed comment because Chad was going through a lot. He just had a falling out with a friend.
He goes Bobby's down. He locks the door too. He makes sure it's locked so dude doesn't try to fucking make a curtain call.
Yeah.
And then it was quiet for I don't know, minute or so.
Yeah, and I'm Chad slowly slumps back up the stairs, just grabs a chair and just kind of sits near us just to breathe a second.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, he did a really good job at that Scarface scene. He did it verbatim.
And that's what I was like, was that an actual scene from Scarface? I thought he was just doing a Scarface accent, but then just using his own words because he wasn't brave enough to be himself in that moment.
Full scene, no ad-libbing. I can tell he watched it a lot somewhere. In jail, probably, because he had just gotten out of jail.
Yeah, just gotten out of jail for crashing into that strip club. So, I don't even mind using his name. Dude, his name is Zildjian. If he ever adds you on Instagram, tell him to go fuck himself.
Yeah.
He's an awful person, and I hope he dies in jail. All right.
But Bobby even made the comments if he'd have gotten hit by a car after that, that'd have been the most epic theater performance I've
My
ever seen.
dream was we walk out in the morning, and he's just face down in the leaves, just ass up, passed out in the rain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, have fun with your hypothermia, dickhead,
He was just miserable, and he was so shitty to Chad, which is what bugged me the most.
Just a god-awful person.
So my goodness.
That was day 3 of tour.
And it was, we talked about that for a long time after.
Yeah, that really that dominated our minds for a bit, because then we played Green Bay the next day. Mm-hmm. We had dope Star Wars themed cheesesteaks.
Yummy.
Not too far from Lambeau
Cheesesteak
Field.
Rebellion. Great place there. Just fantastic. They normally have the surf and turf one, but they didn't have it this time, so I tried something different. But I think you just went straight original cheesesteak.
Straight. Gotta see what the plane is like.
That was with because we ate with Travis, right? Travis and then Chris. So those are some good friends. Travis is from Holly and the Nice Lines up there. He's just a fantastic drummer, one of the best drummers I know, and that's who we crashed with as well. But yeah, it's Cheesesteak Rebellion. I like to stop there every time I'm there. Then we played at Frets and Friends.
Yep, and also, decent show. Just had some fun with some good people, especially after the night before. It was nice to just have a normal day and night. Travis and Logan's place was fucking beautiful.
Really, really beautiful. And they're such nice people and such a good hang.
And that is where they had the ferrets. They were the ones with the ferrets in the basement.
Yeah.
So that and just an adorable cat named Radar.
Mm-hmm. They have a pit bull named Blue, but he was still at the old house. And he's a bit territorial, but he's a sweetheart.
They were literally in the process of moving.
Yeah,
and
so just the fact that they would put us up was so nice. Yeah, and Travis played Danger Fest with me a few years ago too, and we're pretty close. He's one of my that's kind of why I would like to relocate there, because I think we would definitely do a band together. We both have that same affinity for the same era of country music, and but I'd say the funniest part of Green Bay though was I had to drive Ross's Prius back to Travis's. And there was a guy the whole time in the bar who was playing pool.
Oh yeah, it started off as 2 old dudes, and me and Brian got to Green Bay way too early and got to the venue way too early.
We just got up and left after because they just Chad had to go to work and we didn't get much sleep. So
so we just we got there, and there was just 2 old guys playing pool since we got there at 5 when the place opened.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't leave.
They didn't leave. Other than when we were playing, I think.
Yeah, I think they would go out for their smoke breaks then. But there was one guy very dedicated to his stick positioning while playing pool, and did not care who he was hitting, frankly.
No. And to preface, Ross is he's got a short fuse, but he's just trying his best to keep his cool. He's doing everything like that. And Ross is but he's one person I would never want to make mad. And either way, so this keeps bumping Ross with this pool stick, and I was watching Bobby's set, and he's like, he bumps, but he just hits Ross with the pool cue. He's like, "It's fine, I'm just sitting here." And just like little passive aggressive comments as they go, and then towards the end when they're leaving, like Ross is like nodding his head. He's like, "Yeah, you have a good night, man. You have a good night," to this guy, and just you could tell he's just steaming. So Ross proceeds. I have to give him a ride home. He shows me the new country artist Nick Shoulders, and Ross. So Ross, and he's great. He's got really good, like, I mean, just really cool, like old style country, but with newer subject matter and everything. So he's showing me this. He's showing me this band that he absolutely loves, and we're having like a little talk. But he gets in. He's like, yeah, the fucking guy wouldn't do his pool cue, wouldn't do everything like that. And he's like, you hear this? He has a fiddle in there, and he sings that falsetto. It's so beautiful. And then he keeps going back, and he's just angrily describing how much he loves this music, and it was the best. I miss that guy so much.
He's a passionate gentleman.
Yes, but he was just so funny because he's so angrily describing the super beautiful song just because that guy just really irked him with the pool, and rightfully so. That guy
that's bullshit. You can't just be stabbing people with sticks multiple times. So that was our Wisconsin portion. Next date was Ypsilanti, and
we did have a fun night off and visited my friend Amanda, and we did some painting, and that was a good time.
Howled at the moon, real good.
I was Howled at the moon.
That was when I thought that there was a skinwalker trying to get me to keep going outside. Yeah, because I kept having to go outside to like fart out all the beans and chili we'd been eating the past 4 days.
She had made chili for us. Yeah, I remember that. And we just did some painting, and Amanda had lived with me for a while, a few summers ago, and everything. So it was nice to paint with her again and do all that. And I know we were very close to Plainfield, which is where Ed Gein's from. So then I was outside and getting to kind of creep myself out a little bit. Because I remember hearing he saw voices in the trees before he did whatever. I'm like, so then I hear the trees ruffle. I'm like, nope, going back inside. You
broke your foot. You broke your foot there.
I did. I broke my toe there. You got to hear me break my toe. Yeah.
Brian just stood up from the couch to he was letting paint dry for a little bit. He gets up from the couch. It sounds like someone dropped
a silverware drawer.
Yeah, like it was multiple sounds. God. It's like when someone drops like a big a melon or something. You're like, oh, that sounded like fleshy and hurt.
Ouch.
Oh yeah, it hurt a lot. And
I just thought it like really, really had like a bad pop or something. Yeah. Nope, it was it was.
Well, I normally have super clicky ankles, anyways. A lot, but no. But the funny thing about that is the first tour we ever went on back in 2014, I had just dropped an air conditioner on my toe at work, or I didn't drop it. Linus dropped it. But either way, but yeah, so I broke my toe, and then that's when we had to fill up with gas with that broken toe. But no, I was hobbling the rest of that tour, the rest of this tour.
Always breaking your toes on tour, man.
Got to break a toe. It's tradition. Good luck.
So anyway,
good luck is what I always say.
So yeah, I almost forgot about that off day. I'm glad we went back because then we the toe saga. And then we get to Ypsilanti. Again, we're a little bit early. These shows aren't, like 6-8 hours away. They're much more reasonable jaunts. Yeah. So we get to Ypsilanti and we don't know what the fuck to do. So we go to the little downtown area, kind of get out and go looking for stuff to do. And there's like a weird little like reclaimed radio station / club. Looked like it was probably like really cool in the 70s and like kind of got dilapidated, and now they're like trying to bring it back. And there's like 6 to 8 people outside, just like a bunch of black people having fun, which for like Michigan, I guess we are close to Detroit, so it makes sense. But whenever I think of the Midwest, I'm like, it's all white people. So being in Ypsilanti and actually like seeing black people, already great. I know I'm in for a good time. And one of the dudes sees me and Brian walking by, and he just points at us and goes, "Mankind in the Big Show."
Sure did.
And I'm very confused because that's all he says. And I just went, are those people? Because like it is just two like concepts essentially. Yeah. And he was like, wrestlers. And like now I'm like, oh, I know those wrestlers, especially the Big Show. But like in the moment I was like, what? Like out of context.
Oh yeah, confused. We didn't know what the heck was going on at all. Yeah.
But then afterwards I was like, okay. And then like thinking about it, we really enjoyed the concept of Mankind in the Big Show. Yeah.
And I didn't realize that Mankind was referring to Mick Foley, which was actually one of my favorites when I did watch wrestling briefly as a kid, because he had the sock puppet, But regardless, I mean, we're like, that's perfect. And it like really sums it up pretty good.
Great name that rolls off the tongue. And frequently when Brian or I will say something weird or have a thing happen to us, I will immediately say, all right, let's start working on the split. Like, let's get that EP done. Fucking, I think the last one that I made a stupid fake album for was OD on Fart.
Yeah, OD on Fart.
But yeah, so then I was immediately like, Mankind of the Big Show, fucking print it. That's gold.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of marinating in my mind as we go to Springfield, Ohio.
Yep. Lovely Springfield, Ohio. We got to paint in a park, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, we just hung out. And
had some okay pizza. Didn't try the chili because
it was okay. I think this was like peak, just like my ass hurts from being in a car too much. I'm just
bunch of butt sits.
Yep, I'm just shitting uncontrollably.
I was operating on the assumption that we had a place to crash there. So day, so I was, and then which I mean, it's fine, shit happens. So we didn't. I mean, and I slept pretty comfortably in the car, especially that night because it was warm there at least. But go ahead.
And we had a while before the show because again we got there like the place was like a bar / pizza place, so it was open at like 3 p.m. So we just said fuck it and hung out there all day. And
we did all day. Yeah, we just kind of plugged in and hung out, and that's when you find I think I shared some videos and did whatever else. Like nice little open mic. I think it was a little bit too cold to have it outside.
Just a little bit. I wish the entire place was a little more cohesive on like knowing there's an open mic happening.
Yeah,
like the whole front half had no idea.
Yeah. If you'd have had it in the side room, and I think that's where they normally do it, which is fine, I mean, and that they're good friends from Ohio Riot, and I think like at the better, in the summer, I could see that open mic being really, really cool. Or even, but nonetheless, it was a stop. It was Ohio. I will say Ohio kind of, I love my friends there. But Ohio was pretty bland for me. It was just like it was like bumpy South Dakota, for me, bumpy with a few more people. Yeah.
Are you telling me Ohio isn't for lovers?
Dork.
I'm not saying it isn't. Not saying it isn't.
So Ohio was definitely not for lovers. We got the fuck out of there as soon as we could.
Okay. Hawthorne Heights was full of shit, man.
And then it starts raining. Like when we wake up, there's a solid rainstorm coming.
Really? Yeah, it was really coming down. Because, we slept at the Loves just shortly outside of Springfield there.
Yep.
Oh, yes, we slept at that Loves. I go in to get coffee because I'm up ready to go and everything there. And our show had just recently fell through from North Carolina because of the tropical storm that went through.
Yep.
And so the guy's just making small talk, asking me, he's like, where are you headed? And I'm like, no, we were going to be heading to North Carolina, but now we're just going to head to Nashville a few days early. And he makes the loudest game show buzzer noise at me. He's like, still raining there too. And he's like, I'm like, are you going to make that noise at me at 6 a.m., sir?
Yes.
And also not an ideal interaction in any form because we're leaving Ohio having 2 shows lost now, the North Carolina one and the Knoxville one. So we are just like, fuck it, let's go to Nashville and just hang out somewhere cool and kind of
just kind of see what happens there.
Reconvene on our own selves. And so then we're like, hey, we're gonna leave Ohio and go to Nashville.
It's like, and then you made the best comeback. You didn't say it to him, but when I was in the car telling you about it, you're like, oh yeah, sir, I guess I'll just stay in Ohio.
I don't care how long you try to keep us here. I'm not going to eat your shitty chili. So we left and went to Nashville, as we should.
Yes.
And we know we have time to kill in Nashville because we have a back half of shows scheduled, but we have 4 days before the next one. So we're like, fuck it. We'll just stay in Nashville. It's somewhere cool. And I try to use my airline miles to book us a free hotel. And boy, are they really generous with the 2 stars they gave the motel we were at. First of all, they called themselves a boutique inn and suites, this motel.
Looked great from the outside, I will say.
Looked fine. It seems like they have painted it. Yeah. The parking lot was mostly level. But you go in there, they don't have a lobby for you to go into. Strike one. I had to like give some random teenager who was working for his father's inn, obviously, all of my information through 2 panes of glass. We check in, everything's fine.
I'm sorry, plexiglass.
Plexiglass, right? Not like bulletproof glass, just like please don't stab me glass. Yeah, it's basically it's just like homeless urine proof is essentially no one can come and pee on you because you are running.
That's not a luxury
worst.
Everybody has, you know.
So I booked 2 days in this motel because I'm like, I want to give it a chance, but I am not going to bank that this 2-star motel is like good by any means. We get in the room, and
sorry for controlling my trying to hold back my laughing over here.
It's just the room, the beds are made, but everything else about it is
dirty,
unkempt.
Visible mold.
Visible mold, the shower,
blood
black
stain.
mold all around, blood stains on the wall.
Oh my god.
There was no peephole in the door. It was gone, so they put the paper that says where you're at over top of it.
Yeah, which did not help the sound from coming through from
I'm sorry, Nashville, of all the places I've traveled to, the most sirens I've ever heard was in that town.
And we were right next to the highway, literally right next to it.
That's the perfect place for sirens.
Yeah. It was, and also like never have I seen so many car accidents in one highway stretch than we saw in Nashville. Those motherfuckers do not know how to drive.
So it was safe to say that I did not drive one bit while we were there.
Question: when you were in the motel or hotel or whatever, did you move any of the pictures on the walls?
There were none.
No, there were none. The only pictures on the walls were the ones I was painting. It was the only hotel room I was totally comfortable painting in because I'm like, if I paint over this blood, it's just going to help it be better. You know?
I checked my mattress for bugs initially, and there weren't any. But over the 2 days we were in there, I definitely left plenty of trash and food on the floor. So there was a roach by the end of it because I trashed the fuck out of that place.
There were a few pretty large bugs. Can't confirm roach in the shower. The last shower I took there.
Yeah.
But you never know with stuff like that because sometimes like I've had deals like that where you get a pretty decent thing. I think we were just kind of in a,
there was burn holes in your
5. I counted 5 cigarette burn holes. And you could tell it was a problem there because when we left that hotel, there was a mattress that would just stop smoking from being on fire. You know,
burnt mattress out in the parking lot. We took a picture of it. It's on Facebook.
Oh my god!
It was just a burnt mattress. Not even like well burnt. Like they weren't burning it for a reason. It had caught on fire in someone's sleep, and they probably just said "fuck it" and tossed it outside.
I sent that picture to my brother, and he's like, "Wherever you're at, you need to leave."
Yeah, and boy did we. Brian was nice enough to get us at least 1 star more, and like those people.
It was.
They had a free continental breakfast. There was towels.
With a security guard.
There was there was a security guard for their continental breakfast because it was one of those deals where like there's a restaurant attached to the hotel, so they have like the exclusive we do all the food contract. So they are also having to provide the
music there too and stuff.
Yeah, they had a big stage. They apparently did karaoke. We didn't go to it because we did not like that dude.
No, not one bit.
But yeah, we go there and there's a guy just like getting your room information before you go do the thing, which is fine, I guess. You know, like I'm just used to being able to go up.
Someone that's hungry gets food. You know,
yeah. Why would you ever want that?
I do get it from a business aspect, you know, but I know they throw away a shit ton of those scrambled eggs. You know,
yeah,
definitely. So yeah, we're just eating our food, and this guy is apparently a great conspiracy theorist.
Oh, lovely.
Immediately, just like there was like a shooting that happened, and he was like, obviously, or like something crazy like that.
No, he said it's bullshit. He's like, obviously they're saying that, like whatever, and because he went on, you know, and he was doing it to somebody else. But like, I was really happy. I used my Midwestern skills to just diverge the conversation to hunting and fishing every time I could. And one thing you need to know about me is that I'm not a hunter or a fisherman.
Yeah.
But my family, you know, a lot of people are. So I just kept talking about that. He's like, "Oh, you got a good pheasant." I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right." You know, I mean, I've had a conversation with someone like you before. You know,
Brian is much better at deflecting weird racist tirades into like, what are your interests? How about you just don't tell us what you hate? when we're trying to eat breakfast.
Because I'm not going to be able to fix you in this conversation, but I'm going to at least be able to have a reasonable time. But there are times that like that is kind of a flaw on my side, because like there's some people that just need to be called on their shit. But we were going to be eating breakfast there the next 2 days, so I decided not to get on his bad side.
Smart move.
Yeah.
But while we were in the shitty motel that I got,
yes,
I was laying there going, fuck, we have to be in Nashville for 4 days, and this is the place we're at. Like, I need a goal to reach. I need something, or else I'm gonna go fucking nuts. So I immediately just start looking up, like, I didn't want to go for like most famous studios in Nashville. I didn't want to go for, like, top studios. I just went with, like, I went with I was just looking for like studio availability. And so like I contacted 2 or 3 places, and the only one that got back to me, and almost immediately, in fact, was Blackbird Studios in Nashville, started in 2002 by Martina McBride and her husband John McBride. Great studio.
Personally, some of my best music from the last 20 years has come from there. You know what I mean? One of my favorite.
And like we didn't know about this studio. It wasn't like, we know all this stuff that's recorded there. But I was like, this seems like a cool vibe, that studio. And then we went and looked at the track list of like people that have recorded there. And Brian's favorite band recorded his favorite albums there.
Your favorite person?
My favorite person, Taylor Swift, recorded Red and
Taylor's Version, right?
No, she did the Taylor's versions of stuff, but also what was the one before Speak Now? I think it was Speak Now. Was it between Fearless and Red? Anyway, deep Taylor Swift lore. But like Mountain Goats recorded
she's
there.
Great. I have nothing bad to say about Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Anyway, this studio is fucking like perfect for us. And we're able to lock in 1 8-hour session the Thursday before we have to be in Kansas City. And I'm like,
and I had just a few days previous had heard my songs come to their full realization by having like fiddle addition onto it. So immediately I'm thinking like, well, if I'm recording, I don't feel confident enough playing it by myself. I'm like, I'm going to try my best to get Sheila to come down and record. And I'm really glad it worked out.
Yep,
but it was
all the stars aligned. She was able to get someone to watch her kids. She was able to get, you guys were able to get plane tickets.
To do that too. Yeah.
Like logistically,
her bandmates helped her out. And, her bandmates helped her out and did whatever. And it was, and then Andy was able to help me get some decent price tickets and just the overwhelming support, because like that was all the while that video was blowing up on TikTok, so I got a few random donations from that too. It was pretty damn cool. Like it doesn't seem real yet to me. I'm waiting for the day that it's gonna, but
so we're sitting on those tracks that we recorded in Nashville. And Mankind in the Big Show has come true.
Yes.
And we have an active GoFundMe still, so I'll post that link around everywhere. Please go donate if you can, if you have already. Thank you so much. We're actually about a third of our way through the goal already. So, right now we have the option of, like downgrading the dream a little bit and just doing a split single, like flexi disc or something. But ultimate goal would be, all those tracks on a solid little split.
On a solid, that'd be really, really great.
Shout out.
That's the main goal. But even so, I'm just excited to get them out there and get people to hear them because they turned out great. And like my favorite, I was really happy with how my tracks came together. But I was really like you're recording the one in particular, Caveman. I think is going to really blow a lot of minds. It's a great song. It's such a good song.
Excited to release that song out into the world.
It's
Shout
such
out
a good
to our
song.
engineer Steve Cordry. You were amazing. You made us sound the best we can sound in a quick 8-hour session, mixing on the fly. So.
Well, I think having we had just been pretty solid playing them too, so we had the songs in pretty well thing there. What made me feel better is that I was talking with him shortly before. I think it was when you stepped, because you had recorded first, and when you had stepped out, I was talking to him or whatever, and we were talking discussions of maybe doing a click track or whatever. Which eventually I'd like to be at a point where I can do that or a little bit more. But he's like, well, yeah. I mean, we played through a few. He's like, you got good enough natural rhythm. I'm like, okay, guy, this really cool studio. Thank you for the nice words. I'm gonna float on that for forever.
And so we just fucking such a good time in Nashville.
It was phenomenal. Yeah. And then when we were leaving the studio to drop Sheila off at her hotel, there was a guy in the tunnel playing a tuba.
Yeah, like the big around the body sousaphones. That is just
he was blocking traffic playing.
Yeah, like literally like foot on the edge of the bike lane, almost into traffic. Just
my hero
along
level.
With his tuba.
Just it was fantastic. I love someone with that kind of gusto. Yeah, because there's people pissed off honking. He's like, yeah, they honk because they love it.
Yeah. So we drop Sheila off, and we immediately start driving to Kansas City because it's a little longer.
We stopped at Jack in the Box. I got some mini tacos.
Can't
ignore the Jack in the Box. Yep. And honestly, the Jack in the Box was a little further away from the highway than I think they said.
Jack in the Box tacos with ketchup.
Yeah.
I could see it being okay. I'd try it, but I don't really like ketchup that much. So I was actually just being nice. That sounds really disgusting to me, but I'm glad you like it. Ketchup grosses me out a lot. Bobby may not have told you that.
Hell yeah. We'll have to get.
I just can't do it. I can't do it. There's just I don't know. Yeah, but go ahead. We'll discuss the ketchup thing on another. So
we get to Kansas City. Not much to do.
Really
we
cool.
Hit up a little coffee shop. We got to do some looking around at
we went to that art gallery.
Yeah, art gallery. Yeah. That's the words I'm looking for. Yeah. I was like, photo house.
I was
like,
I will say underrated art museum because that was really, really cool. There was a few that one
art pieces there.
That massive picture, with the girl that didn't have the mouth or whatever, but those colors and the pour and thing. Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, check it out because it's really, really awesome.
We played at the Pairing. It's a wine or it's a liquor store / like small grocery.
And they do charcuterie boards and stuff. Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Atkins. Jam. Matt Atkins was our guy there. We took some shots of Malort with him.
Yeah, we sure did because you got to.
Yep, and then they were just making an onion jam the whole time.
Oh yeah,
and so it was
good,
beautiful onion aroma. Like maybe some people their idea of great venue isn't smells like onions, but honestly, I loved it.
This one, I loved it. It sold me on it.
I know a few people that would love that.
Yeah, so they were just making a dope onion jam. They gave us a sample. Fuck, that was a good.
Yeah, they were all so nice too. I think and he said they do a singer-songwriter thing on Wednesday, so I'm excited
so we were
to get back
one
there.
day off from the kind of their usual. But we got to meet
Dane Talley.
Dane Talley, local legend of the area. Amazing. Another I would say unconventional songwriter, but in a much different style.
Yeah.
But he's
very
not
cool, quite... like old country Merle Haggard, George Jones sort of style.
He definitely he says he's more honky tonk than anything. He's just a picking guy, lots of good guitar work.
Yeah, just a phenomenal dude too, and the songs were great. I've been listening to that album a lot since I've been home, and we've actually kept in touch pretty good or whatever. I mean, because if I play down there again, I want to play with him because it was just really good, Yeah, because that's what I always kind of try to do too. And I'm like, well, because you can't control how many people come out to the show, but we can at least make sure it's good music I want to hear, But
and then after Kansas City was Des Moines, which we got to. And we had so much time to kill before the show, and so you were we were actively
first off,
trying to kill time.
After we slept in Kansas City, I woke up and it was 17 degrees outside, and I woke up shivering. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just gonna start driving, and I started driving for a little bit, and I was like, my eyes are shaking, so we stopped at another truck stop, slept for a little bit, then I got up going, and then finally we just got to Des Moines just to get there, and we. Just exhausted. Just
and it was 9 a.m. We had a full 12 hours to kill or something before the show. So Brian was nice enough to just get us a hotel to hang out at. But we tried so hard to make it to that 3 o'clock check-in time. Because they were going to charge us
extra to do it, and that's a lot of money for me, But. Yeah. It was a lot of tired for me too, and I just could not. I couldn't see myself waiting 2 because we made it to 10:30, and we're nah, man. I'm just gonna bite the bullet, and we're just gonna stay. And then
we tried to find comic book shops or cool things to go to, and every place
we even went to
closed.
A really dope antique store, and we could have looked at that antique store a lot longer, but we were just tired, but.
So we looked up the venue. It wasn't exactly our style. They weren't the best at communication, and we were burnt. So we just said, "Hey, you know what? We're having trouble staying upright. So we're just gonna not.
Yeah, we decided to recharge night. We got some really great Chinese food, watched some TV, and just kind of knocked it out.
Woke up fresh for our Sioux Falls big closer, and
so
initially I think we were trying to decide between Omaha and Des Moines. So we chose Des Moines.
We were on like a third hold, so it was like if these two shows canceled, then we might have a spot for you.
So we skipped Des Moines because man, that was not ideal.
No, I was just not. I mean, and I was at the point where, especially with the lack of communication and stuff like that, I wasn't feeling it. And I won't say the name of the venue or anything because I've had a good show there before, but it just this time, I just didn't quite. And then between that and my gout kind of flaring up that day too. I mean, we can make up all the excuses we want to. We were just burnt out,
burnt out. Didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I initially I wanted Alisha to at least go on one of the dates for the tour to like meet everybody because like me and Alisha met right before the pandemic, so like no one that I know has met you yet.
And I mean, no one that's not local.
None of them matter anymore. And so like,
sorry, Austin.
we were in Des Moines and we had to go to Omaha to pick up Alisha from the airport because I had initially booked her tickets for Omaha, and because of the way I booked them, they were non-transferable. So we drive over.
Well, the
Omaha.
good thing is we're from Des Moines or Omaha. We've been going through there anyway.
Yeah, and also because you had got us that hotel, we didn't have to leave first thing in the morning because we were freezing to death. Like we got some breakfast in us. Got a nice late start to the drive, and it was like perfect timing to come get you. We only had to sit in that like side lot for like a half hour.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad at all.
Old cop tried to yell at
Bobby,
us.
Like that drive.
Oh yeah, that cop was yelling at us because I wasn't supposed to stand in the center, but there were plenty of people standing in the center.
Yeah, that's because they were all waiting for us.
Not you though. You in particular, nope, can't stand in the center.
Yeah. But
did you tell them about my million-hour layover?
No. So that was the thing is I had booked.
So my flight left Friday in Reno to Seattle. It was supposed to leave at like 3:00. I didn't leave until like 6. And then once I got to Seattle,
you had to be on the plane waiting.
I was on the plane waiting for at least one of those 3 hours.
It was so bad they texted me being like, sorry for the delays in our air travel.
Yeah. And the pilot was like, he was like, yeah, I don't want anyone to worry, but there was something that went wrong with the engine.
Maybe just don't say that.
Just making sure.
You don't get everyone on the plane and then say that shit.
There's a family behind me, 2 parents, 2 very young kids, and like everyone surrounding us just kind of looked at them and was like, oh, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, we'll be just fine. Yeah, because if I hear something like that, but...
And then my next flight didn't leave Seattle until 8 a.m. the following day.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to be getting into Omaha until like 1 something.
Yeah.
So I had an overnight layover in Seattle. So I like explored a little bit, and then I went and found myself a nice little cubby to sleep in. And none of my stuff got stolen, and I'm still here, so we're good.
Hell yeah, that's a win.
Survived
that's
the 19
because it's hard to find a place to sleep in the. I mean, you're talking the Sioux Falls airport, then whatever, but like some of those
there's nothing
places,
in.
Yeah.
But the Seattle airport was nice. Like, there's this one terminal that no one. I'm not telling anyone which terminal it is, but there's a terminal that nobody goes in, and it was very nice, brightly lit. A lot of people that worked there were just hanging out.
Hell yeah.
And I found myself a nice little spot with a lot of women nearby and just camped out.
Girl group.
Yep. Girl gangs.
Yeah, no, it's nice to find because I've had a few. Luckily, I've only flown like a few times, but like I haven't had too many like long layovers. But you can definitely, I can see where like if you're waiting a long time, there's nothing.
Yeah,
because you can't be too far away, but you gotta. Yeah.
And that was my first ever very long layover. It was a fun experience. Don't want to do it again, but it was. I don't mind doing it again if I have to.
So
it was worth it.
So the next tour that we do in January, that we were talking about the other day.
Yeah,
you might have to just come along this time. Just come along.
I would love to just come along.
That would be logistically better, and probably I would sell much more merch.
Yeah,
than I did.
He needs a salesperson.
Yeah, which
slash manager.
speaking of Sioux Falls, great end cap to our
so
tour.
great. So great. Some familiar faces. You know, I'm glad Laura and Sean from Donnybrook Brawlers showed up.
It was so good to see them.
It was just like a good blast from the past. And, you know, I mean, because I don't know, man, like, I mean, I kind of felt, you know, I mean, like because since you left, it's been a lot different, like music scene wise. So it was kind of nice to get kind of some of the good parts of the old days, you know, back in there. And
great to see Chris and Tiffany again, because
absolutely.
Gotcha.
Chris, my old bandmate, you know, you spend a lot of time in a band with a guy, they just become part of your life forever. So
it's the truth.
It was great to see them. Shout out to my old coworkers.
Julie,
it was great.
Sue
meal.
and Ben took us out to eat before the show. It was like the best.
Sue, I know you're listening.
Yep, it was like the best. It was the best way to end, because it was just like everyone we know, and they were all there to like take care of us. People bought a bunch of merch and stuff, and it was just so great to see everybody.
Yeah, I sold that one that I did in Nashville, so I was actually coming home with a little bit of cash too, which was really nice. But yeah, well, because I remember because Shirley, because you were ready to be done that morning. I mean, I was trying to talk up the show a little bit. I remember you saying like, if I talk to all my people, then I'm just gonna maybe just not do whatever. I'm like, people are gonna be there to hear you, man. And then, so
I was like, I'm just down to
hang out. Is a hidden gem, not even hidden gem. It's just a gem in Sioux Falls. Like they've
Solid
done so much for that, and like that's been nice to actually go out and have a place there to do shows again. I've kind of, you know, I mean, being an hour away and just kind of budgeting and stuff like that, I'm not really part of the Sioux Falls scene anymore. So it's nice to have a place that when I do go there. But I was glad that you got to see that too.
Yeah. It was a cute venue, and
it was so nice to meet you, Alisha, too.
It was nice to meet you too.
Yeah,
I really liked the location because like they actually had some like really good books.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like
solid
and like
store.
Not just that, but like the drink selection was very nice, and it was just a lovely venue.
Solid spot.
Yeah.
I hope I get to go back one of these days.
Yeah. Well, anytime you find yourself back in the area, I mean, I know Sean and stuff like that, and we can get something booked there. I mean, I play there out of places in Sioux Falls. I play there pretty regularly. So, but yeah, I still need to go pick up my table from there. Now that I literally just remembered that, but they know it's mine at least. So
that's nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's see. We were just. Oh yeah. So I was like, it'll be a home turf type of show. We'll probably just get a place to stay. Was my thinking, and then Alisha was like, do we have a place to stay? And I kind of asked around, and it's like, I'm sure anyone from Brookings would have taken us in, or but everyone either didn't have a spot in Sioux Falls or was like traveling the wrong direction from where we wanted to go.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I was still pretty pumped from the show, and I just said, fuck it. You want to just start driving towards Omaha, since I got to drop you off there tomorrow morning anyway. And Alisha,
I was kind of surprised that you had headed back that quick, but I mean, I know how it goes, obviously.
Yeah, I was so fucking done with just everything. I was like, I just want to start my way home.
Yeah, like at least I'm started towards it, and then that's how I get to. I also think it's a good reason of like why we travel together so well is that like there's sometimes like people I'll be touring with will get up and like, okay, I'm ready to get going and see what's in this next town, you know, and you and I, we were both around the same, especially since we weren't hungover very much this whole tour.
Yeah.
We just like got up and got going. Like we both kind of we didn't even really need to talk about it. Like, yep, I'm ready to, you know, and then just hit the road, you know, but yeah, I'm really glad that you got to meet all the Sioux Falls folks, Alisha.
Yeah, me too. It was really
nice.
And
congratulations on getting to meet me too.
Oh, so. Yes. Thank you. That was the best part.
Thank you. I always make people thank me after they meet me.
Alisha was nice enough to sponsor my tour back home with a stay at a Sheraton in northern Sioux City.
Yeah.
It's about an hour south of Sioux Falls. I was like, I don't have as much energy as I thought I did. And we were like, what looks like a reputable hotel? Because I have had enough of choosing bad hotels. And Alisha picked perfectly. She dropped all the money she could on me to get me the finest threads.
Yep.
To sleep
nice
in.
King size bed.
Big old king bed.
Oh,
God, I slept fucking great. And I needed to because I had a 20-hour drive ahead of me still. Which uneventful but boring as shit. So that brings us to the end of tour, which God damn,
I will say
I'm never ending that way again.
I'll take a 20-hour drive over having to ride an hour and a half back with my ex-wife, who never supported me with anything, just be holding back all these stories you want to tell somebody. I mean, luckily,
like, these aren't things I want to tell you at all, but I want to start talking.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, very nice of her to come get me. I really appreciate it, and that way I got to see Kennedy that night. And it was great because when I saw Kennedy in that in the parking ramp, we both just tears, just crying. They were happy tears, of course, but because I mean, eventually I'd like to just take her along with me because she went along with me at the festivals and stuff like that too, and it was just so nice. So it was a great reunion to see her. I'm glad you got to meet her at least for a little bit. And she was wearing
she seems
her Brian
like a real
Hoffman.
good girl.
I'm really proud of her.
So sweet.
But yeah, it was such a fun time though. I had just like the best time, and like it's kind of fun, I mean, it was a good confidence booster for me too, just kind of get out there and you realize, I mean, like, because for me, I'm just in a bad spot is kind of more so what it is. It's location versus me actually not having, and I'm not trying to talk big about myself because me, but like I still, like, I mean, I feel a little bit more confident in what I do. I just kind of need to get to a place where it's going to get more eyes on it, so, but it was just great. I mean, makes me miss you even more. Because man, there's only me and like you and me travel really well together, and then me and Joe Bartel, and that's about I mean I have a lot of friends, but there's touring is a different animal altogether, and just kind of knowing when whatever, because I mean I get in my and don't get me wrong, like there's sometimes I just try to annoy you, but then there's other times like is every word I say annoying the hell out of everybody I'm talking to, and I didn't have that at all because we just had fun conversations, but it was a lot of fun. Bobby did try to make this is a side note from back in there. He made a joke, and he was like, while he was making this joke, I basically just saw him falling, grasping at straws because it didn't land, and then he's just like, I don't know, Zoltan.
I was just sitting there like it's like
he gave me the can we still be friends after I made that bad joke look, and I'm like, of course, man.
I was looking at my hands like I don't know what I'm doing, so I just did the Zoltan from Dude, Where's My Car? Because I can't. I have no excuses
it was
for
delightful.
myself.
Yeah, it was delightful. There's so many good things. I mean, just stuff in there, and then that was like a pretty rush because there's a lot of like narratives and inside jokes that we had along the way in there. But like, I think we went through the cliff notes of it pretty solid,
Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Like aside from making everyone just listen to the playlist we drove ourselves mad with, like,
yeah.
Or at least I actively would just like every morning I'm just going to put on Theater Girls Will Break Your Heart.
Yep.
Then we'll just let it shuffle afterwards.
It was great. Well, and there's been a song like that with us for like every tour we've been on though. Because before it was Scissor Sisters, which did make a little comeback, but it just wasn't quite the same without Reed there.
Reed.
And
Reed the Steve.
He actually came and visited on Friday night. I'm sure he'll give this a listen actually. So hi Reed. I got him to play guitar. I got him to play guitar for the first time in like 4 years around there. He's starting writing some new songs, and we're gonna work on some stuff together or whatever. Yeah, but it was really, really great to see him. I love the hell out of that dude, and I know y'all do too. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, he's just a gem.
That's cool as fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was great. I had just like such a phenomenal time, and
same.
I'm trying to think of anything else that was. I mean, there's so much other stuff that was.
Other than that, go listen to Dane Talley. Go listen to Joe Bartel. Go listen to Zach Baker, my favorite.
Yeah, go listen to Straight Line Arrival.
Pass the Flask.
Pass the Flask.
Be on the lookout for the new album.
Obviously, go listen to Hemlock Chaser. They're phenomenal.
Chaser, Ouroboros the Poser, and
Constant Headache.
I almost said Choked Out that time.
Choked Out.
Much different.
I'll talk to Ben and see if he wants to change it to Choked Out just to make it, but I don't think he'd be for it. But yeah, they broke down. They were supposed to play with us in Michigan. I forgot about that.
They were supposed to play with us in Michigan, and we made it, and they never did. And we were like, "Uh-oh." So yeah, that was an unfortunate part of that part.
Yeah, but I think it was a really cool stop. I want to make it out there again, and just a lot of cool spots. I'm excited to get out that way again and do some of it. But yeah, it was just a fantastic trip, and it's kind of just. And I since that video blew up, I got enough followers, so now I can do live streaming on TikTok. So I've just been doing that since I got home to kind of, like I said, I haven't had the post-tour bummers yet. I'm sure I'm going to have one of those sleep all day days one of these days, but I'm just I'm motivated, which is kind of nice. And that's not a thing that I normally am after tour. So
Nice.
So,
Congratulations.
yeah, well, thank you. It's all due to that big bear Bobby over there. So he told me a lot of stuff I needed to hear that we won't talk about on here. But yeah,
they're only for me to
So-
yell at you sometimes.
it was great. It was so, yeah, I mean, seriously. And like, I was so uncomfortable, but I'm like, God damn it, this is fucking helpful. He's
you're stuck in this
he's
fucking car.
like, I was like, he's a good friend. Like, why is he such a good friend? I wish he didn't care.
All right, I think that's the
Yeah.
perfect end cap
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah. Well,
fucking
yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great
saga.
to recap. We'll have to do a phone call again sometime here soon. And
Definitely get you back on the
yeah.
pod to talk more
Yeah.
shit about less
Absolutely.
specific subjects.
Yeah, literally anytime you want me on. And then also if you see me live streaming or whatever, you can always hop on and talk with me while I'm painting. So I'm actually going to be starting up my podcast again here soon. Just interviewing artists and kind of getting the platform down and doing that, because it'll just be something, like I said, keep things going. I have a job interview tomorrow at
Good luck.
an illustrious pizza establishment.
Pizza,
But no,
Italian cuisine.
I love
Italian
pizza.
cuisine. I do too, and it'll be nice to just kind of get a little something to make ends meet a little bit better. Then I can kind of not have to do desperate pricing on my art, but which will be nice.
Yeah,
and
nothing
I'm looking
less than
forward to
3
it.
figures on them art pieces.
That's kind of what I'm rolling for. I think they're worth it. It's just But yeah, all right. Well, I will not Midwest goodbye this anymore. Thank you for having me on. It was really good to talk to both of you, and we'll talk soon.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, Brian.
Bye.
Bye. Okay,
Bye,
bye.
podcast.
Bye, podcast people.
Bye, podcast people.
Bye, Sue.